take you off there. Guys, the shenanigans that are happening right now. So thank God for Steven because I just did like a quarter of the script, not live. I thought I had gone live and, you know, I'm a little bit nervous about this new format and I had the script handy. So I forgot to pull him out. I was just like reading and going through it. And he's like, you're not live. You're not live. So it is what it is. It's you know, it's noon. So, okay, I'm just going to get right into the script that I have. I do have some other things that I want to discuss with you guys after I get through this script, and you guys get to see how nerve-wracking it is for me, I guess, when I do these pre-recordeds. This probably isn't going to be the content going forward, just because I feel like it's a little awkward that I'm just like blowing out like this whole script to you guys, but I did want to get this out there and I did want to do another live stream. So let's see how that works out. And I know you guys have some questions about some other things and that I want to address as well. So I'm going to go right into it. I have to switch over to the script now. Then I'll bring Steven in and you guys can see some of the hilarity that happens when I'm trying to get through these things. This one's called Paranormal Highways. Whew. We have discussed paranormal, supernatural, and even extraterrestrial happenings and goings-on lonely highways throughout the world over many times and at length on this channel. I happen to be feeling in a fun type of mood right now, and so I decided to talk about it some more. I say this because it always excites me to discuss the open road and encounters people have with strange beings and creatures and just odd and unexplainable experiences that they have while traveling these roads altogether. I also looked at my videos and can see that, at least for the most part, you guys also seem to enjoy this subject. Please be sure to not only like and share this video out afterwards or share the live out, leave a positive comment at the end, subscribe if you haven't already. And this is normally where I would ask you guys to please watch the video all the way through because that really does help. Highways can be just as lonely, desolate, and eerie as lonely back roads, especially at night. They seem to be the place where a lot of high strangeness and bizarreness happen too. These particular highways, meaning the ones we're going to discuss today, seem to go out far beyond the horizon and into some place we simply can't understand or explain, no matter how hard we try. But it is fun listening to all of the stories. There are specific highways that seem to be prime real estate for the strange and mysterious. And then there are some that by chance or odd circumstance just happen to have someone coming across something unexplainable. Take Highway 72, which goes from Salem to Rolla in Missouri, United States. It's barely a blip on the radar and was described by one of my sources as, quote, a slash of roadway, end quote. That about sums it up. It's the gateway to the Ozark Mountains, but it's possibly known more for the massive amount of Bigfoot encounters and UFO sightings that people experience while driving it. According to Dr. Emmett Reary, who is a senior investigator for MUFON, this particular highway has an inordinate amount of UFO sightings. He stated, quote, UFO sightings are all over the map around here, but I have personally seen a number of them on Highway 72, and many have been reported to me in that area, end quote. This is especially true for the area of Highway 72 that runs through Dent County specifically. Dr. Reary talks about this. Dr. Reary talked about one of the many of these mysterious landings by unknown crafts, saying, quote, back last fall we had a landing, or what I believe was a landing, so I went out and checked it out myself. The night it occurred was really windy, and the guy that owned the property where it happened said it was so violent it woke him up. When he walked outside the next morning, all his lawn furniture was knocked over and there was a circle in his yard. I measured it to be a perfect circle, which was 16 feet, 9 inches in diameter. The grass along its outside perimeter was all desiccated and dried out completely. To this day, it's still dried out. I was going to check if snow would stay on it, but we just didn't seem to get any last winter, end quote. What would the possible explanation be for something like this? What else but a UFO could have landed on this man's property? Keep in mind, guys, and for all of you skeptics out there, UFO still only means the unidentified flying object that has, in this case, landed. that it's unidentified. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it was extraterrestrial. And I think we covered this the other day. That's usually, but not always the case too. It seems these UFOs merely land a lot in this area, and that's it. It doesn't seem like they're being very discreet about it, whomever it is that's flying or in control of the crafts. But aside from a couple of few, there aren't many encounter or abduction stories to go along with these landings. There are no definite or definitive answers, remember, so keep that in mind too as we move forward with this part of the video. As I mentioned earlier, there is another phenomenon, if that's what you want to call it, that seems to happen just as often, if not more, than the UFOs landing all over this area, and that's the sightings of and encounters with Bigfoot. In most cases, the big guy is seen meandering across the highways or lumbering along on the shoulder of the roads, right at the tree line by people who just happen to be driving by in those particular moments. The thing is, as spectacular as a sighting of Bigfoot is, it gets even more strange when you look at the fact that sightings of Bigfoot and the landing of the UFOs seem to go hand in hand, or at least happen very close to one another, both in proximity and in time. Another quote from Dr. Reary on this particular subject is, quote, Bigfoot sightings and UFOs often happen together. Sometimes there's even been reports of a Bigfoot coming out of a UFO. Me, I don't know, but it's funny because the way it used to be is if they got a report of a Bigfoot with a UFO, they just throw that in the trash can. Same with the UFO people. They would just ignore it if a Bigfoot was spotted with a UFO. We're learning now not to do that, but it takes time to change. There are always more questions than answers, end quote. So I have been covering Bigfoot a lot more often than I ever did here on this channel. And while I never even would consider before that there was some sort of connection, the more I research it, the more it seems inevitable that I will eventually have to come around to the idea that they may, in fact, be connected somehow. At least some types of Bigfoot, right? I say this because recently I've come across Bigfoots on all different colors and types and sizes. And I'm still of the opinion that that all means something, like the different color fur. The black ones seem to be more aggressive and interdimensional in nature. I just haven't come across enough research on the subject to find out what it all means yet. What about the things that are beyond the realm of extraterrestrials and cryptids and can be nothing other than straight up paranormal? Now, for me, this is everyday life, driving down any street anywhere. And if I'm not in the right frame of mind or otherwise distracted, I will see all sorts of spirits and entities lurking around. However, to the average person, this could be really scary. This sort of sighting, as far as I can tell, is the most common type of highway sighting or experience out of all of them. It may be getting a run for its money from Bigfoot and the UFOs, but it's first nonetheless. Stretching through the treacherous terrain heading from Sacramento to Lake Tahoe in the Sierra Nevada mountains in California, there seems to be one highway that's some sort of realm that might lie between the living and the dead. I know some of you don't like to speak in terms of thinning veils, but something is happening on Highway 50. It's a road surrounded by wilderness. It's very twisty and dangerous in the way that it winds and wraps its way throughout the rough, wild terrain that surrounds it. In June of 1994, a woman named Deborah Hoyt was simply driving along Highway 50, minding her own business on the lonely, desolate, and extremely isolated mountain road when she had a paranormal experience that scared her poopless. I said poopless. She was staying with a friend or something. The details are very scarce in my source material when she suddenly awoke with a start and felt an urgency to leave where she was and drive home. The road is very precarious at night, and she knew the risks she would be taking by driving it. There were no cell phones, and no one else would be around should something bad happen. This road is also rife with deadly accidents due to the bending and twisting throughout most of it, and that could also be why there are so many people who have paranormal encounters with spirits and lost souls along the way there. But that's just a personal opinion. You could take it or leave it. Anyway, Deborah woke up and had the strange and eerie sense of urgency to get the heck out of wherever it was that she was sleeping. She listened to her gut and was in her car and driving on Highway 50 in no time flat. She was coming around what was known at the time as Bullion Bend when she saw what she knew to be a ghost, and it was the ghost of a naked woman. The ghostly woman was just standing there and watched her as she drove past. Once she got to a phone, she called the police and told them she had seen the naked ghost of a woman standing there. And to her credit, or to their credit, they actually did go and investigate it. I think they might have thought that it was just a naked woman and maybe, the term ghost just got thrown in there. They found nothing out of the ordinary or strange, though, and so they chalked it up to a paranoid woman driving a dark and somewhat eerie road in the middle of the night. However, the next day, all that would change, and fast. I don't know how it came to be found or who discovered it, but there was a crashed vehicle wedged in between some brush that wouldn't have been seen easily in the dead of night. It was at the bottom of a very steep incline right at Bullion Bend. Upon further investigation, the body of a woman named Christine Skubish was trapped inside. Remarkably, her 3-year-old son had been in the car with her when it crashed, and though Christine had passed away from her injuries, her son was still alive. It happened that the crash had occurred days before Deborah saw the ghostly figure with the little boy terrified and trapped in the car for up to 5 days with his deceased mother. The most amazing part of it all, or the most terrifying, depending on your personal view of things, is that when shown a picture of Christine Skubish, Deborah was adamant that that was the woman she had seen lurking there on the side of the road, naked and looking dazed and confused. Could it be that the spirit of Christine had been trying to attract attention from someone passing by in order to get help for her helpless son in order to save his life? Of course, you all know what I'm going to say. Of course she was. Why else would she choose to appear naked? She had clothes on when her body was found. Also, without Deborah calling the police and reporting what she had seen, the car might never have been found in time to save the little boy. Finally, a story where I can praise law enforcement for taking something paranormal in nature seriously, regardless of the reason, and doing their due diligence and finding that little baby trapped there before it was too late for him. Bravo to Christine, and I hope she has since found peace. As for Deborah, I also wonder if the sense of urgency she felt was Christine somehow tapping into something inside of Deborah, which gave her the extreme and unexplained sense of urgency she had felt in order to pick up and randomly leave a friend's house with no explanation in the middle of the night. This is why we always have to trust that inner voice over the rational mind, guys. Spirit knows the way, as do our higher selves and spirit teams. Let's move away from specific highways, but keep on the vein of supernatural occurrences. What about a pack of skinwalkers roaming about, hunting for blood and whatever it is they're after? This next encounter comes from Brent Swanser. I found it on the MU website. Brent says one of his terrifying and confusing experiences, Brent says of his terrifying and confusing experience one night, and guys, this one really kind of creeped me out. Quote, this happened to me when I had just turned 18 years old, just before I was to head off to college, and I had decided to take a road trip from my hometown in California to Denver, Colorado, to visit a friend of mine there. I did not have much money, and my parents thought it was a bit of a whimsical idea, but they let me go through with it anyway. I thought at the time that I could handle myself, and at 6'3" and pretty muscular, I suppose I have a somewhat intimidating enough presence even then that I foolishly thought I would not run into too many problems along the way and that no one would mess with me. Anyway, it was just to be a drive out there, after which I would stay 2 days, then come back. Simple. There was no real reason to think it was a particularly bad idea at the time. Along the way, somewhere in the wilds of Nevada, it became obvious that the drive was to be a lot longer than I had expected. I had left my home too late and I was getting tired and sleepy. If you have ever taken this drive, then you might know that there are vast swaths where there is not a soul in sight for miles around. It might as well be the surface of the moon. There was really not much to see along this route. It was dark and empty, and with the endless monotonous road ahead and the hypnotizing lane lines flickering by, I caught myself nodding off at the wheel on several occasions. I did not really have the money for a hotel to stay at. I barely had enough money for food and gas, and so I decided to pull over at a highway rest area off the highway and take a nap in my car. I only planned to sleep for a couple of hours and then head off along that dark, desolate highway once more. The area was actually rather remote with nothing around, and at the time there were no other vehicles there at that rest stop, giving it all a rather bleak and imposing atmosphere that made me wonder if it was a good idea to be there or not. But I ended up parking, putting my chair back, and falling asleep, even as I turned over the idea of just continuing on my way in my head. I awoke to a tapping on my car window. It was so creepy. I jumped awake, and it was light enough that I at first thought it was early morning. I was somewhat startled to see a young man standing there peering in at me. He was a skinny young man who looked to be perhaps in his early 20s or late teens, not much older than myself at the time, and he was dressed normally, certainly not a vagrant or appearing particularly threatening in any noticeable way. Although I immediately wondered why he was out there in the middle of nowhere and what he wanted. He then simply and calmly said, "Open the door." At this, I immediately had a distinct sense of palpable menace, some undefinable feeling of threat, and was glad that I had locked the doors of my vehicle. I simply said no. He demanded again, "Open the door," this time in almost a growl. And I soon noticed that there were two others with him lurking in the background, and that there was also a pickup truck nearby, which I assumed to be theirs. Upon this truck was mounted a spotlight that was turned on and pointed at the ground, which was why the whole area seemed to be surprisingly illuminated. In actuality, it was still in the middle of the night. This is where things get bizarre indeed. Thinking that it was just some kind of kid screwing around, I took out a knife I had brought with me and just held it there where he can see it. And I guess that was pretty stupid in retrospect, but remember, I was just a dumb teenager and I thought this would maybe scare them away. It, in fact, had quite the opposite effect. The young man became absolutely infuriated and let out what I can only describe as an animalistic howl or wail, quite chillingly inhuman in its intensity, as he violently shoved my car to send the vehicle quaking, and I actually felt it lift from the ground a bit. It was breathtakingly horrifying, totally out of nowhere, and was jarring. Frightening display of strength I never would have expected from a person, let alone someone with such a slim frame. It's hard to describe just the amount of alarm I felt in that moment. This is when I noticed that the two other people with him in the background had something quite off about them too. I could see their eyes. I could see that their eyes were either glowing or reflecting light like that of a cat. I don't know which either way you might recognize as something that human eyes do not do. It also seemed that they were, I don't know how to describe it, blurry, fuzzy. Do you know how when you're watching a TV program with bad transmission and the people on the screen look sort of jumpy and distorted? Can you imagine that? It was like that. They seemed distorted, broken, and vague, as if infused with some sort of static. It was almost as if they were tenuous, having trouble staying in focus, staying in reality, having difficulty existing, or that they were quivering or moving to and fro at a very great speed. It was really very strange, and although I suppose I'm a decent writer, I still find it quite hard to describe fully in words. The next thing I knew, one of them, a girl around the same age as the man, who was now panting and scowling like a rabid dog, his visage twisted and contorted beyond the thin pane of window separating us, was suddenly just there beside him. One moment, she was standing in the background some distance away, and then she was just right there in the blink of an eye. It was abrupt and disorienting, to say the least. Then she also said, "Open the door now." This is when I snapped out of my shock and started my car. I didn't honestly think that it would start, thinking that surely they must have done something to it to cripple it while I was sleeping, and that I would be stuck there in this metal prison until they smashed their way in or someone else came along to help, which was a slim possibility considering the sheer emptiness of the road and the fact that the chance that a few vehicles passing by in the night would even know something was wrong was a remote possibility at best. To my genuine surprise, the car did start, and I tore out of there as fast as I could. And as I did so, the spotlight on the pickup truck immediately sprung to life and swung up to home in on me, blinding in its brightness and following my car with perfect precision. I stepped on the gas, and as I did, I was shocked to see that one of them, not the original man or woman, probably the other one, or even another hiding in the shadows who I had not seen, was running alongside my car. I think it's important to mention that at this point, I was almost to the actual highway and steadily picking up speed, perhaps going 40 miles an hour at that moment, yet there this person was, another young man, easily pacing me as the spotlight pierced forward to track me. As he ran, he barely even looked tired. He reached out to knock on my window, and it was also totally strange and frightening that I remember I actually let out a scream, something I usually do not do, and which I can probably count on one hand the number of times I've actually done so. As I reached the highway and picked up speed, he tried to keep up with me, banging on my window the whole time with increasing force, and probably made it up to around 50 miles per hour before he finally fell behind and faded into the distance. It was all absolutely mind-boggling. I just drove off as fast as I could, my foot heavy on the pedal, and although that persistent spotlight stayed with me until I was out of sight, the truck oddly did not give chase. I hauled ass until I reached an off-ramp in a populated place, and I must have sat there at a diner for about 3 hours, shaking and trembling at the whim of the adrenaline that was coursing through me. I could not keep my hands still. I must have looked a mess, and I remember the waitress asking if I was all right numerous times, but I lied and said that I was just frightened because I almost crashed out on the road. I don't know why I didn't tell anyone or call the police. It's probably because I didn't think they'd believe me. Hell, I barely believed it. And also the fact that I was eager to reach my destination and did not want to deal with the hassle, especially since I was in one piece despite my rattled state. I never did tell my friend in Colorado about it, and indeed, I have never told anyone about it at all until now. I was terrified to tell anyone about what really happened. This may all sound very dramatic, but I assure you, it did happen. I'm not exaggerating. And to this day, it's a rather traumatic thing to think about. I truly feel that I was not meant to make it out of there alive and that I should have died or even worse at that rest area. My life was surely in some form of danger. I often find myself wondering how many other travelers along that desolate stretch of highway were confronted by these odd strangers and what would have happened to me if I had opened my door as they had demanded. To this day, it gives me duress just bringing up the memories, end quote. So the first thing I want to point out is that Brent is a professional writer. So all of you, in the comments, they're going to be like, that sounded too professional. She had to have made that up. No, dump that right now. Go back to your Karen couch, okay? The next thing I'll say is the first thing I thought of here with this encounter were the black-eyed kids, because Brian Bethel's encounter, he was in a parking lot and they were kind of thuggish looking when they approached him. But the BEK disappeared when he took off, and these things went right along with him. I'm going to move off the script now, guys, and see what you guys think about that. I really, I was sincerely blown away by that last encounter. It really gave me the creeps. It made me really start thinking about skinwalkers more so than I normally do. So I'm going to bring Steven in. I'm going to say hi to everybody. I have a few things that I just want to discuss really quickly, just as far as like some messages and stuff that I'm getting. A lot of people asking me some questions about some things going on, and just want to cover those real quick. So let me just do that really quick right now. As far as anything happening on any other channels, including channels that I work for, I don't know anything that's going on because I'm not an owner of the channel. I do know that if someone accuses a channel that I write for, that they plagiarize, then that means that they're accusing me of plagiarism. And obviously I'm not a plagiarizer. So I would just be aware of whining ducks. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because like I said, I really don't know what's happening. I just write for several people, not just that one particular channel over there. And another thing I want to say is I'm seeing a lot of kind of dynamic duos of younger, I guess I would say, mediums or psychics popping up with handsome gray-haired gentlemen, all over. And it's like, it's driving me nuts only because I'm afraid that like Steven and I are going to get a copycat reputation because my channel's not big enough. So those are kind of the things that bother me in the night, I guess. And I was watching, I talked to you guys about how I felt as far as, fake intuitive oracle readers. And I don't know if that struck a chord or hit a nerve, because now there are people who are like, oh, okay, fake intuitive oracle reading didn't work. What can I do now? I know I'm a past life expert, so I'll just go on people. And it's just like spreading. It's like this worm of deceit spreading through our channel, and I don't know if it's past life expert. It could be anything. They could be like, I'm a cryptid huntress. It could be anything. And it just is so bad for the community at large, and it drives me absolutely nuts. Before I bring Steven in, one more thing. I want to thank Blue Crossroads and Shauna and Paranormal Pixie. I'm trying to just do me. But when I'm over here in like my little corner doing my thing, staying out of the drama, not talking badly about anybody, not getting involved in anyone's business, I don't care what you do, I'm still being kind of brought into it when people are attacking other people that I'm working for. So I figured I would just put that out there. for once and for all, because I did get a lot of messages. And even if I did know what's going on, which I don't, I did sign an NDA. I sign NDAs for everyone I work for, so I wouldn't be able to really speak on it publicly. What doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse, and what's done in the dark always comes to light. So everyone's going to know, eventually anyway. So I got these from Blue Crossroads, and they did belong to our beautiful Shauna. And I want to show you guys. I cannot wait to wear them, but look at these buttons, especially that one. Can you guys see that? I cannot wait to wear these, and I just wanted to publicly thank Blue Crossroads, though I did speak to him privately. Those mean very, very much to me. And yeah, unidentified. It's like we've been doing this for 2 years, and now I'm getting people emailing asking me why I'm copying so and so, and I'm like, who is that? Like, what? Can we all? Can there be more than one? Absolutely. But certainly it's not Steven and I, because when I first started intuitively Oracle reading, I think Cassie was the only other person doing it. And I'm not sure if she's an intuitive reader. I don't know. She might be. There are people reading from books and they're intuitive tarot, but now even the intuitive tarot readers are starting to do live intuitive tarot reading. But it is what it is. I would love to watch the community grow, but I get worried when I see the community growing with people guessing at what they can fool people into believing their abilities are. Like I said, one thing they get called out on, so suddenly they scratch that, and then they're on another show. Now they're an expert in this other thing. And once they get called out that, where did they, what I mean? Like, where did this come from and all that? 3 weeks from now, they're going to be on another show. They're going to be an expert in something else. And that's what makes us all kind of look bad. Let's bring him in. Hi, you're on mute.
You're giving me that look. Sorry.
I want to get to the skinwalkers.
We'll talk. You do so good at it. But yeah, it's funny, YouTube. Everybody copies each other. Everybody follows the flow. It just gets annoying.
Darling Deb and everyone else who sent birthday gifts in general, donations, all of that. Thank you so much for the Tibetan rope incense. They were awesome. I used them the first night I got them. They smelled amazing, and they burned out fairly quickly. So it wasn't like, which was good because they were very scent filled. They were like just enough to clear the house out after the saging. It was absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. So Bat Mom, the end of everything that I just read, that I was going to bring in, I think that was skinwalkers. That's what the author thought that it was. These people that accosted him on the side of the road. My birthday is Wednesday, so I am still going to be doing live intuitive oracle with you guys at the same time on Wednesday night. So come on in and hang out. We were here for Ghost Dragon's birthday, and I feel weird because like it was like a different start to the stream instead of like me like talking with you guys. So now I don't know. Gonna have to change format, guys. Change format. So
did my booty shake get shown on live TV?
It did. And I was like, no, because I didn't pull you back out before I restarted. I got to pause this. I am still stuffy. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, it's going to be an interesting night. Wednesday night.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be awesome. So now, what do you guys that understood what I was saying? Because I was kind of breezing through that really quickly because I'm used to doing it like with the camera there. And then I can I love rope incense. My favorite is rose and sandalwood, but I love a lot of others. I have sandalwood, but I think the one I used was juniper. The juniper ones. I let RJ pick it out.
Not a bunch of little ghosts. I'll tell you, Any road, I don't care what road you're on, especially in the country, can be scary. It can give you the willies just driving through a country road at night.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what, like, the point I was getting to with that is like, it could be the side of the highway just as easily as it could be a backcountry road. And it could be a very well-traveled road, like Clinton Road.
I've been on it.
Here in New Jersey, it's very popular. A lot of people know about Clinton Road in New Jersey. It doesn't have a lot of light, but that's an extremely long road that is very well traveled during the day. It's just what happens at night. Like, your residential street can become, something supernatural or paranormal
Easy.
under the right conditions. Some of these places, especially, I don't want to say especially in the Midwestern United States, as far as the United States is concerned, because again, I really do think it's all over, where there are just some places where I guess it would be ley lines are, it just sits on, and a lot of it is in like New Mexico, Colorado, around there.
And that's something that kind of surprises me, that a lot of people don't talk about the ley lines, because if you look at paranormal, and I'm talking all paranormal, happen along the ley lines.
Well, I wouldn't say all paranormal,
well,
but
most of it does.
I think what you mean, and I agree, is that where a lot of like paranormal activity is in one spot or area.
Right.
Bat Mom says the highway here going through Death Valley is beyond scary. You're in Reno, in Nevada, right? I think Reno. It's just like, even here, like by my mom's, like she lives in an old shore town known to be haunted, lots of haunted, rich history, haunted history here. But even like where Ray and I have our house, it's, a regular kind of suburban New Jersey town, not too many neighbors, but it gets really creepy, especially at night and especially during certain times of the year, like it's just as creepy, I guess, in spring and summer, but it's like more so for some reason when the nights last longer. And I don't know, I would be more creeped out in my yard during the fall and winter months than I would be during the spring and summer. Does anyone else have that?
Yes. And I want to answer this here. Pam, I know those roads very well. And I actually have a friend that has a cabin right there in Hocking Hills. I have seen so much on both those places that it's not even funny. Old Man Caves, the picture I told you and posted in Facebook about one of the places in Ohio. Old Man Caves is a very interesting place. And I've seen a lot of little shadows in that area. And those roads were all wagon trails originally. And you can catch some really weird stuff there. If you're aware and paying attention, there's weird stuffs all on those roads, both the 33 and down around Hocking Hills. It can get really creepy. If you're not paying attention, it can catch you off guard.
There's another, this other kind of project that I'm working on where someone sent me an encounter having to do with Old Man Caves. I can't share it, but it was definitely very, very creepy. And it definitely made me wonder, like, the history of the Old Man Caves was like an old man literally lived there and died there. And but then it like became this whole other entity. Itself, the cave system itself kind of became its own entity.
But yeah,
I've also been coming across a lot of encounters lately where and it's to me, it's not usual, right? As someone who's constantly seeing the paranormal around me, this may happen to me, 4 days a year where something like this randomly happens. But I've been getting a lot of encounters from people where it's happening constantly, where like right before or during, and this is coming from very credible people, in my opinion, the paranormal or supernatural encounter happens. There's like this gray fog that kind of comes down, especially like in wooded encounters in wood areas. There's a fog that just kind of randomly, or mist that comes out of nowhere and then leaves with the paranormal activity. It's
Yeah.
bizarre because it's gone from anything from like skinwalkers to ghouls to simply hearing things in the woods. And there's this fog, and then the fog goes, and veil is thinning. Yeah, that term, yeah, I think about that term and I'm like, it's not technically, but like I can see, like, yeah, definitely. If you think about our world and the world of spirit, just in general, just even spirit, if you think about it as a veil, it definitely is thinning or lifting.
Yes.
As some people say, I know there are a lot more people having cryptid encounters. Some people not even realizing that that's what they're experiencing because they're only hearing it, or they're just sensing it, or, they're going camping. And, I've come to find recently that allegedly Bigfoot is like when you raise your campground, they like really like oats. So farms are being, the oats for the horses or whatever are being
Taking,
stolen, but it's like only the oats and the salt licks and salt is being left behind. That makes sense,
yeah, yeah. The fog thing is an interesting thing because it's a concept people don't think about too often. Either a fog or I call it hazing. It's like your eyes right before, sometimes with me, it's right before something happens. I get this kind of haze in my eyes and before my ears start ringing. And it's like my eyes are watering, but there's no tears. It's just like you're out of focus, and then they come into focus real quick, and I see what I see. Um, but on the road, you're not paying. You're on that highway or on the road. You're paying attention to the front of your car and everything around you. You don't think about something stepping out in front of you too often. You're just deer maybe.
Well, that's what I always think, like, okay, we have to watch for deer, or like, at the other
Bears,
house, we're going to watch for
bears.
at certain times of season bears, but I don't ever expect it to be, a 12-foot tall bipedal ape man. And I never would have until, very recently when I started accepting encounters from other people, taking on personal clients and really listening to, because I try to work on the spiritual end of the spectrum with people, but a lot of the time it's like it has to be intertwined because they're either having cryptid experiences their entire life, UFO experiences their entire life. Those two go hand in hand more often than I
Oh
expected.
yeah, oh yeah, a lot.
Or they're having more of the like ghost demon entity type stuff,
Right,
attachment, all
right.
that stuff. Um, and I try to help, clear the attachments. And that's kind of what I do when I take on a personal client. I charge them one time and it's like 6 weeks worth of work. If they don't keep up with the work, the 6 weeks ends. And then they're like, well, you're not going to help me anymore. And it's like, I sent you everything you needed. Like, you have to actually, work on it, whether you're a client of mine or not. If you go to a spiritual advisor, or if even you're just compelled to do something like go out and get black sage and use it, or go out and get uncrossing spray or black witch salt or whatever. If you're compelled to go and purchase those items out of the clear blue sky, I would just make sure keep them handy, because there's a reason you're being compelled to do this. That's why people are like, okay, well, the paranormal and all that has become more popular because of reality TV.
Right.
And it's like, it's putting it more in people's heads. And it's like, no, because paranormal activity isn't hallucination. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, a group hallucination where like, just because you'll be in plenty of groups where people will be like, I've never actually had a paranormal experience. People in our chats, if that was the case, they'd be having paranormal experiences because they're
Right.
around people who are. And a lot of the times it just doesn't work like that. I wanted to mention too, I thought it was funny. I was watching, because of everything that came up, like the whole plagiarism thing. I was looking at reviews of the Dead Files, and they were saying how Amy Allen, and this is how people can be really misleading. They were saying that she used to be on a different show for Investigation Discovery where she hired a psychic. And I was like, that is weird. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if But that wasn't the case. I felt it was weird that she wasn't credited for that particular appearance in the show, A Haunting. It was one show, and she did mention that she was a physical medium, but I think she just wasn't hired as the medium in that show. She was hired as something else that she was happened to be doing. But that's how rumor and speculation that really can, she solidified her career, but like people on a smaller scale end up having rumor spread about them like that because people who just, I find Amy Allen's faces in the Dead Files completely off-putting as well.
Yes,
it really annoys me. Sometimes I have to fast forward the show because I just like all this, like but I understand where it comes from, because if I just look over and I see, this shadow being that seeps down from the ceiling and turns itself into like the letter B and grows legs and starts walking along, like, to me, that's like, okay, that was weird. If I have to explain it to you, I'm going to be like, it's kind of like long. Like, I can see why she does it, but it is very off-putting.
Yeah, it does.
One of them that I personally don't, the Cindy Kaza, she does with Steve Shippey. She does a lot of investigations for Investigation Discovery. They recently did the Michigan Hellhounds. I don't understand her. I'm not saying that she is not for real, because I honestly don't know. I don't know Amy Allen as a person either. I just look at people's energy. The thing with Cindy is I've never seen a medium walk into a place and say, "Ooh, there are demons here. I'm really scared. We should go. Let's stop the whole investigation for tonight and let's go and come back." And
right.
To me, that's like
a little too much.
It is, because it's like she's my age or older, so probably has been experiencing this type of stuff her entire life. You're on a major network, like, you don't go into something like that not knowing how to protect yourself. So what is it that's so scary that, like, she's literally shut down? I think it was the Lizzie Borden house, I think, where she like shut down. She's like, I can't do this anymore. This is too scary. I don't want to walk in there.
What is her name? My dad loves
Cindy
watching.
Kaza.
Is that who that is?
Yeah, but I don't think she's more of as a physical medium, as more of like a psychic medium. But I just don't see there being enough difference for her to be scared. Darling Deb, I feel like a lot of I think she's from New York, Teresa Caputo. And again, I don't know her personally, so I can't speak on her as a human being or if her abilities are real. I want to watch what I say, because I definitely don't want to get like sued for defamation, But yeah. I will say that I find a lot of people who have shows like that they're very intuitive, and like maybe John Edwards, they're very intuitive and they're very detail oriented. So they have a way about them of picking up on a person's subtle energy shifts in their face, their body language. They're wearing a necklace to a viewing with one of them, and the necklace has an M, and they'll say, "Who's the person with the M name? I'm not quite getting it." And then you'll say, "Oh, that's my fiance. He died. His name is Mike." And he's like, "Oh yeah, did Mike die? I'm getting something with," and they'll start to go like this, and they'll see like this, or the person will go like this.
It's
and
all about body language. Yeah.
They'll start to put their hands here to say, like, I don't know, crushing of the chest, but they'll put their hand there first so that they'll see the person's reaction. And it's very quick, but you could become very skilled at doing things like that.
Oh yeah. Easily.
I think a lot of people are just really perceptive. Like Tyler Henry, definitely the real deal. And he's so sweet. I love him. He was, I saw him recently do, what was he doing? TLC. And he's so young. He had no idea who the lady was. And he's like, I don't know. There's like this weird name with the I, like, he's like, not an eye, like her eye. And like, because Left Eye, she died from the group. Right. But he was just so adorable, because he had no idea, like when he channeled for Bobby Brown, that Bobby Brown's ex-wife who came through was Whitney Houston. Like he had no idea.
And that's good though, because that proves them even more.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Lara, it's not that I'm saying that she's not really who or what she says she is, because again, I don't know her as a person. My issue becomes when she, someone even just like her, because she's not the only person that I've seen do it, but she is someone recently that I've seen do it. No, Tyler's in his 20s, isn't he? Tyler's in his 20s.
So I only know a few of them just by
Yeah, he's
name,
in his
by
20s.
shows and stuff.
Where I would wonder why you would be so incredibly terrified as a medium, where you would, you're shaky. I just don't understand her method, I guess, where maybe I don't know what I don't think there's anything that would get me that scared that I'm like, okay, we have to shut down production and stop what we're doing tonight,
right?
Because I just saw something that scared me.
Right.
I would expect to have to stop what we're doing because someone who didn't have abilities was scared because they saw something, but not somebody who's allegedly in the business of dealing with the
You should be used to seeing that stuff anyways.
Right. And I think that that's where my issues kind of came in. It's not fear for like the crew. It's not fear for the other people. Right. She is fear. She's afraid in general. She's not even really fear for herself, like that something's going to come through her protection. She's just scared. And to me, I don't know. I've never seen anything like that on a medium before, but I don't know what her exact abilities are supposedly. I know she's more psychic, and I know she does the feel thing.
Well, I've been by the Hell House.
Yeah, I don't know though, Nutslap, because Amy Allen's never once had to do that. And I think Amy Allen is obnoxious, but I'm just saying she's never done that. She only had to stop one investigation throughout the course of 15 seasons. People were like, oh yeah, all she ever does is find, the same types of spirits. It's never like someone's great Aunt Bessie is there to say hi. And it's like, no, because the show is about violent hauntings. I'm sure that she probably could tell them, hey, great Aunt Bessie is here too.
And I believe she has. And I believe she
has. Say, like, don't worry, like your grandfather's here and he's watching over you and he'll move on and all that stuff. But it's just, my point of bringing it up is just the way people can, because of access through a TV show, and believe it or not, with YouTube, people have this access to you, especially someone like me, like I'm so open and I get so personal, that they feel like they know me and that they have a right to make judgment on, my life or little things that I say, and hazards of the job. Yeah, but I'm still human and it still hurts. So when I hear things, and also it hurts the community when people are like, okay, intuitive oracle, someone called me out on that. I know, past lives, that sounds good. And then like you'll see them a month from now, like, that didn't work out either. Like, that's how I feel like this person or certain people in the community are kind of like finding their niche. They're like throwing stuff to the wall and see what sticks. And I could care less. More power to them if they don't have to actually deal with the stuff that comes with abilities like ours. But you're cheating people. She was very dramatic, but that wasn't the point of what I was getting at. Like I said, with the faces. First of all, my stepmother used to do that type of stuff, and I just still to this day can't stand that woman. And Amy reminds me very much of her. Tyler is 27. So while I really
hold on one second. I got to step away for a second.
Go ahead. While I really appreciate that, I am going to be 40 on Wednesday, not 30. Unfortunately. I mean, for shows, you got to be dramatic. And I wish I had it in me to bring like that drama to my YouTube channel. To be like, I'm getting a message, like I don't know. I feel so stupid. I think it's just like making a mockery of the entire community. And when you have someone who maybe is a really big name backing that type of behavior up, it's even worse, because then you have to wait for that big name to be exposed for who and or what they really are. And that could take a long time. And in the meantime, a lot of people get hurt. I judge everyone. Find your niche with truth, not in lies. And that's the thing. Like, if you have no extrasensory abilities, if you're not a psychic, if you're not a remote viewer, if you can't channel spirit, that doesn't mean that you can't come and hang out with us. First of all, you don't have to be born a medium. You can learn how to become a medium, because everybody is born with these extra senses. So choose one and work with it, and put the work in, and do the work, and work with, great people that are really good at their craft and that know what they're talking about. And within a few years, you can actually be a medium. You can become psychic. I know people say that you can't, but I promise you can. And put the work in, and then come back to the community and say, yeah, this is my darling job. I love it, and I love that, because anybody can do it. And that's not to say it's easy to do. It's much easier if you're born with it, I think, as far as being able to do it. But to really put the work in, because you really want to work in this community and you really want to be a part of something bigger for whatever your reasons are, I really admire and respect that a lot more than trying to fake your way through it, because somebody's eventually going to find you out.
It never ends well anyways. It really doesn't. Then you end up hurting yourself.
In the meantime, the community gets hurt.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. But yeah. I'm trying to figure out where I walked away. I'm just trying to get caught up.
Oh, hi, Pancash. Hi, everybody. I didn't individually greet you all, but I will next week. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to get that script. I took the time to write it, so I figured I'd get it out there. But that is me all day long trying to film those pre-recorded videos. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do it live. I mean, I'd rather have a third time a week where we get to like congregate. I know, a lot of people that are in other countries can't get to our late night one. So this one will be like 12 or 1 o'clock weekly, depending on, what we've got going on. I was in the middle of a work day and I couldn't work all weekend, but you guys are worth it. And I really miss you guys. I want to hang out with you guys. I want to discuss your weekends with you, and definitely let you guys know to come into Oracle on Wednesday, because it is my birthday. I can't wait to spend it with you guys. My mom's throwing me a little birthday party with family on Saturday. And on my actual birthday, Wednesday, we're going to go to dinner. But other than that, on my birthday, I chose already to work with you guys, to hang with you guys and work. I'm like, I'm working on my birthday. My mom's like, you are? I'm like, yes, all day long. I'll be doing the same thing I do every single day. And I'll be doing intuitive oracle at night. Oh, heck yeah. Thank you, Melissa. So I know they aren't here right now. Mike Roberts, Miss Grey Wolf, and my friend Rose Tyler. I really have to get her unblocked from this channel.
No, sir, I can't help you unless I see what you're doing. So you're just gonna have to get.
I'm not doing anything. That's
no. You do it from your channel, so I don't know how to undo it.
Crap, and I don't have my passwords for my channel. That's why I couldn't get you in to do tags. Remember?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Because she's been a subscriber to me since like my beginning on here. But what happened was that one night, like 2.5 years ago, remember when someone came in and pretended to be Jarvis?
Yes, and people
started blocking people. I don't know how many subscribers I lost, but she happened to have my phone number, and she reached out, and she's been reaching out, and she's been reaching out, and now finally she's like, listen, like, I really want to come back on the channel. What I don't understand is she can still watch the videos, but when she comments in the I can't see her comments, and she can't come into chat.
Okay, I'll figure that out.
So she's not blocked from watching, but she's blocked from communicating. And she's a patron, a very loyal patron. You know what I mean? So
we'll sit down and I'll go over. Hello, Ms. Lissa. All the Melissas.
So
There's Melissas.
Rose Tyler, Bad Wolf, Lindsay Gray Wolf, and Mike have their March readings I have to do this week. I'll probably take care of that tomorrow. Jules, multifaceted Jules, if you're listening, 6 p.m. tomorrow, we have got to have a check-in because we're like we're reaching our 6-week mark, but I know a lot of it had to do with me too. So we probably got a few more weeks to get through this awesome stuff that we're doing. So can I, Batmom? Okay, so if I click on her name,
there
I
you
know
go.
she doesn't have a channel, but I can click on her. If it's that simple after 2.5 years of trying to figure it out, I'm going to be so mad. But thank you if that works. That's going to be really awesome. And then I think that's really it as far as announcements. We'll be here Thursday night with Miss Paranormal Pixie. I do have someone who got some really amazing images of it looks like it's somewhat cloaked square craft.
Yes. You showed that to me.
I have to talk to the person first again, but they did agree to come on. I just didn't really cement it with them because it was like Friday or Saturday, and I don't work when I have RJ. I refuse.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I mean. Like you just click. I'm going to just click her name and see if that works.
Yeah, that might work. So I've never done a channel. And usually most time when you block somebody or delete a comment, it's just for that chat time only. I mean, they can come back later unless somebody actually got into your account and blocked her from commenting which could have been done.
The problem is what happened.
Right, that guy.
Is the person pretended to be Chris, came in and said, "Where's my wrench? Right. What happened to my wrench? The troll must have taken my wrench." And I said, "Oh, here's your wrench back."
Yeah, I remember that.
And because they were a mod, they were able to block her.
Yes, I don't. Maybe I can unblock her.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's going to be that easy. She goes, "I get blocked a lot." Okay. I will go and I will check it. Shelly, that happens a lot on our stream, but it really is just like an accident. I know a lot of the time, like people will go to click. I do it too. Like I'll go to put a comment up on the screen and I'll end up hitting the wrong comment because it moves when you're trying to. Like I think if you're hovering over someone's comment to do whatever you're going to do with it, it should stop. But it doesn't. It just keeps moving.
Yep. Jarvis has been sick.
Well, he hasn't been in months.
Yeah.
Hi, UFO. Has he been sick though? With what?
Yeah, he's had pneumonia.
Oh, that's right. He did come in and say that.
Yeah, he's been sick. And it's real bad down in Cincinnati. Right now, we're getting ready to get slammed with storms. We got tornado warnings going on and stuff. And I know Cincinnati's in the thick of it too. So he's probably getting it now.
What was I going to say? Dang it.
Oh, here's one. When you're done here at 2:00, Eric and Anthony, Unidentified, are going to be talking about the Hell House. So there's a extend your day.
Oh yeah, I have. Let me look at what it's called. First of all, I have 2 beautiful decks from Blue Crossroads that he sent me that were Shauna's. Amy Brown is the artist on both of them. It's Fairy Blessings and another fairy deck that I can't wait to use. And then I have it should be here tomorrow. It is the come on, what's your name? Mm-hmm. Wild Woman Oracle. Awaken your true, free, and soulful self. It just looks really cool. Wow. Bronwyn of the Starlight Ostara, A New Beginning. The Creatrix, the card of creativity. Freya, Lady of Love and War, card of self-love. Season of the Witch, card of magic. The Sacred Rebel, the card of humility. Skady, authenticity. I have been wanting this deck for quite a while. And Amazon got me so PO'd that I insisted they refund me for something that I was like, I'm not going through the return process again. You sent me the wrong size 3 times. I'm not returning it again. And I demand that you refund me. I didn't really think they were going to do it, but they not only refunded me, they gave me an extra $10. So I was able to, I ordered the deck and it's like 84 cents. What? And then I was like, oh crap, they did. Jarvis says, I have had pneumonia. Like, oh my gosh.
Dude, you're going through it, man. I know how you feel, man. I'm glad you stopped in and said, hey, though.
Yeah,
We do
thank
think
you
about
for
you a
that.
lot. We do think about you a lot, dude. So just
Yeah, I
get
ask for you
healthy.
like every oracle. I forget, I guess because like with me, and I tell you guys all the time, like even if I'm not feeling well, and usually for me, not feeling well, when I say that, is being energetically drained from having dead people around all the time and from working a lot. So, and not sleeping well. So I come into Oracle and I feel better within minutes because when I do Oracle, I channel directly from source, and source is love and light and peace. So
And
for
this
me,
pretty face too
my
helps.
well, I could see that anytime. But for me, it's like I live my own life. So therefore, I forget that not everyone is as uplifted energetically,
Right.
physically from Oracle as I am. Because I'm always like, why wouldn't you come in if you're sick? And then it's like, duh, because they're not feeling,
They're not
you
feeling
don't have
all that.
source energy around
But
them.
I know a lot of people come in sick or not feeling good or depressed, and they leave the room a lot better spirited, and it does help.
Yeah, absolutely for sure. And that's one thing that I'm really, really proud of. I tell you guys all the time with that chat in particular, it's usually the same group of people Thursday nights, and I'm hoping to get even more people in on Monday. Most people do work, but depending on where you're at in the world. So I was like, listen, we always go at night. We're going to do the best we can to get a noon or a 1 p.m. Show for you guys every Monday, even if we do it bi-weekly. It'll still be twice a month.
And a little more
And
organized.
yeah, it always, the first 1 or 2 new live streams that we do on this channel are always all over the place. And that Skinwalker encounter really creeped me out.
That was the last story, right?
Yeah.
Now, see, here's the thing.
Truck stop.
I hear, see, I'm sure Andrew would probably tell you the same thing if he was in here. When my dad worked for Wonder Bread, he worked on semis. So I would go with him on calls, and the stories they would tell would freak you out. Some of these guys have seen stuff they're afraid to talk about in public.
Yeah.
So the Skinwalker thing wouldn't surprise me, even a group of them. What is now? It's on the tip of my tongue, and I know it's out in the desert. I want to call it the Badlands, but maybe I'm wrong. It's out west, and it's a stretch of highway that is like kind of like Death Valley, but they call it something. And
The Badlands.
Is it called the
It's
Badlands?
where I think Route 666 used to be.
Yeah, they tell me all kinds of stories about that road, from UFOs to
It
big
was on Monsters and
weird creatures.
Mysteries in
Yeah,
America.
yeah.
And they did call it the Badlands there. When Ray and I first met, he was delivering on one of those really, really big, long trucks, these stone balusters for like these fancy houses. And he would go to New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and we would be out. We wouldn't be getting back to, I would go with him. We wouldn't be getting back to Patterson or Rockaway until, sometimes 2:00 in the morning. He is way too closed. He's like Steve Stockton. Like, if that guy ever had a paranormal experience, he can tell you that he never has, but he probably has. But he's so incredibly closed off that his logical mind won't allow him to accept it. That's Ray. So there have been things that I've seen while out roaming around these, deserted roads with him where, it shocks me because I've never been a person that's interested in cryptids. But a lot of the things I'm starting to now realize I've seen right here in New Jersey and the tri-state area is, not Wendigo, but like shapeshifter, skinwalker, And people are like, there's no way skinwalkers don't, live. Yes, they do. All you need for a skinwalker is that there was a native tribe here, and we're one of the 13 original colonies. So don't tell me there were never any Native Americans in northern New Jersey.
Thank you, Nut Slap. Yeah, I knew it was out west. I just, I've done closest out west I've been. Well, I've traveled out west many a times, going to Colorado. The ex of mine, her grandparents lived in Estes Park, so we would go out every year and then go hang out at the Stanley Hotel where The Shining was, the haunted hotel. And he had things there, but my dad, he cracks me up because he'd go work on these trucks out in the middle of these deserted roads, and I keep asking him, "Hey, come on, have you seen something?" And the only things he'll talk about is UFOs. He's seen himself of UFOs on the side of the road, but other than that, I mean, he lived in Chillicothe along the Tecumseh Mountains, and those are also parts of homes, known areas for Bigfoot. They call him Grassman in Ohio. Well, most people call him Grassman. And he goes, I played in those mountains and ran in those mountains and never saw a thing. And I said, we always tell him, well, just because you didn't see them doesn't mean they saw you. It
doesn't mean they didn't see you.
Yeah, they you may not have seen them, but they were watching you.
Yeah.
And he's like, he laughs, but I know he's experienced stuff. I mean, you get on him on a subject and he gets quiet. So I know these guys on the road see something. I can only imagine the stuff. If you sat down and had that conversation with just a room of truckers, I bet you would have enough to fill probably 30 books.
Well, I noticed too, even on the channel, aside from my Glimmerman encounter, which is my most viewed video by far, there's like over 4,000 views on that video. But I also keep getting people telling me that my channel sucks. And I think that's because they're going solely, which I don't care what they think anyway, because they're going solely on that one video that I filmed when I first started YouTube. And before I was kind of feeling the community out at that point to see if they would accept my Glimmerman encounter, then maybe they would accept me. And that video was just not well done. It was just me telling a story, and I kind of rambled a lot in the beginning, and it was kind of before I found my way through YouTube. So I might redo that video, but keep, the original one, but because I do get that a lot. So Shelly wants to know how she cancels a subscription, join on someone's podcast, but
you just go to the settings and cancel it on your streaming service or whatever you have. If you're talking about on YouTube, you just unsubscribe. Yeah. It's as easy as that.
Okay.
I know. I'm watching the conversation too. It's interesting.
Okay, Jarvis, I will check it. I don't really do. I hate Facebook Messenger, but if someone tells me, obviously someone that I know, the reason I don't like it is because these random people, first of all, I don't know who does this. I accept friend requests because it's Gemma Jade's channel, and I don't know who's read my books or who's here on YouTube that doesn't come in the chat that maybe wants to get to know me a little bit better, right? But then it's like all of a sudden I've got 150 friend requests, all from like the same one person that I'm mutual friends with, but that I also really don't know. And then these people, these men, just start calling. The minute I hit accept request, my phone is ringing through Facebook. Who does that? I don't know if it's just because maybe I'm older. But it's like, I don't know. I can't imagine being like, oh, this person is really like, I'm really physically attracted to this person. Let me randomly call them in the middle of the night multiple times. It's just so weird. So I kind of stay away from
I had to walk away from Messenger
altogether.
I only accept certain ones from certain people.
Roger Blair, thank you. Thank you guys so much. And I'm going to end it for 1:30 because I've got a lot of writing to do today. Time flew. Next week, it should last a little bit longer because I probably will not have the script in the beginning. I'll see you guys Wednesday night. We will see you guys Wednesday night for Live Intuitive Oracle on my birthday.
I told her for a birthday present she was flying solo. So,
yeah, on my birthday. It is a big one. It's a 40th. So, You wouldn't have the nerve.
You,
You'd be
you're
letting
going.
everyone else down too. So
I know. You know me better
we did
than
Ghost
that.
Dragon's birthday, I think, on here too, on Intuitive Oracle as well.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
So yeah, Bat Mom, I don't know what that's about. It's just kind of like, I guess when I was younger, I would want to get to know new, like I don't even go hang out with people that I know. You know what I mean? Like I spend time out of my house with my mother and or Damien, RJ and or Ray, and if Steven visits.
I'm the
Like
chauffeur.
otherwise,
I become instant chauffeur there when I go.
I don't hang out. I don't go out. I don't date. I'm trying to figure everything out with Ray for like our family. So like, I'm not looking to go, even put myself in a situation where someone could say that I might be doing something that's going to cause problems in the long run. So when you're calling me at 1:00 in the morning and you also live in New Jersey, so you know that it's 1:00 in the morning, 15, 20 times, you know what I do? I let RJ answer. I just let him answer, just like the credit card companies that keep calling and calling and calling. Even though I paid my bill, calling and calling because they hadn't received it yet, RJ answers. And he loves it. That's Mr. Scam. He's just trying to steal your money, he says.
I love it. I love it.
Or he'll look at his phone and be like, oh, I paid them already. Like you can tell he's watching me when I'm like talking to the phone or paying my bills and I'm getting frustrated. I am a Pisces, which is one of the cards for the Pisces in tarot is the Hermit. The Hermit is Virgo. The Hanged Man is the Pisces.
Yeah,
but yeah, I guess I'm a Pisces Hermit. All right, guys. I love you guys. Love, light, and peace. Check out the description box. Please, if you watch the pre-recordeds, if there are any missed, go back and watch them. But please watch them. It's actually better for you not to watch them if you only watch them for a couple minutes and then turn it off because it looks like the content was like disinteresting. I normally listen to people's videos, so I just like let it play in the background. Leave a positive comment. Be sure to tip your seer, all that info for my books and all that kind of stuff, personals and all that lovely stuff that I always put at the end of the pre-recorded is in the description box here, or you can reach out to me personally, GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com, or if you have my phone number, text me. Love you guys. Miss Lara, I will let you know if we end up having that guest on Thursday so I can send you the video footage and the pictures beforehand. And yeah, go on over to Paranormal Highway at 2 Eastern and check out what he and Anthony are doing over there. And yeah, that's it. That's all she wrote, folks. And thanks for coming and hanging out with us on our first daytime live stream. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Give me a sec. I boo-booed.